So I never created a name for this, but so panel 1, it's a locker room filled with boys in various stages of getting dressed right after a workout with the team. In the far left, you meet one of the main characters, Dylan, with his head buried into one of the lockers, half asleep. In panel 2, you see a close-up of the locker through the lens of looking from inside the locker towards Dylan, and you'll see right off to the right a side, like half a face of Luke, who has a towel around his neck after just getting done with the showering. Luke says, "Wake up before Coach chews you out." Dylan says, "Let him." In panel 3, Coach is hovering over the two boys, so Luke and Dylan, and he's really annoyed that they're Dylan's fast asleep, and Coach is usually this angry guy that will be shown throughout the graphic novel. Dylan's obviously scared, and he has a very comical shoulders all the way pressed up, and his face is just white as it goes. And you can see a sound effect of boom, maybe like off the right, where you might see Coach's fist hitting the side of the locker. This is all through the lens of looking from inside a locker out at them. Coach goes, "Am I not fun? Am I boring you, Dylan?" Dylan says, "No, Coach." Panel 4, Coach is pointing to the left and right of Dylan, and Dylan walking towards the exit. So Dylan is walking left, so you see a side view of him, and Luke is going to go the other way, so he's facing right, and the coach has both his hands pointed out on either side, signaling them to go. Luke's head is physically hung low. In the text, it says, Coach says, the next time stay awake. You might learn something that will keep you off the bench. Then that was referring to Dylan. Then he goes to Luke, going, "Turner, I need to have a word with you." And on page 2, there will be 4 panels. On page 2, 4 panels. Panel 1, Luke is sunken in the coach's office in his seat. There are stacks of papers and trophies haphazardly sitting on the shelves. The file cabinets are ajar with papers sticking out of it. It's pretty messy and cluttered, filled, but the coach is sitting across from Luke, and his hands are interlocked as he looked tense, which will be a repeating thing throughout this because Coach is just a very angry man. And this will be like shot over Luke's shoulder. Coach goes, "How the hell did you get into high school, Turner?" Panel 2. Luke is still in the chair. On the table, you see some papers strewn about that are for Coach, but there's going to be a magnifying glass. So it's more like a aerial view, but with the magnifying glass, the reader's able to read what's on the paper that is on the desk. And it says Luke Turner's records within the magnifying glass. Luke goes, "I don't know, sir. Isn't it illegal to have my file?" Panel 3. Coach is holding up the file in his hands. And once again, the shot is over Luke's shoulder once again. Coach, "Illegal schmeagle. When one of my best players is a walking idiot who can be kicked off the team, I care." Luke, "Kicked off the team?" Panel 4. Coach closes the cabinet with a smack. You don't see his hand, but you can see the motion of his hand. Coach, "I'm not saying it again. So what's your deal, Turner? Are you really that stupid, or is it a teacher?" Page 3, 4 panels. Panel 1. Coach is rubbing his temples. Luke's arms are outstretched in a dramatic fashion, trying to explain himself. Luke, I'm trying. I just can't get it. I've tried tutors and extra credit. I don't know what to do. Panel 2. Coach is in deep thought with Luke anxiously waiting for a response. This would be gestured with maybe the coach looking off to the side. If you're able to see Luke in the shot, it would be him positively freaked out. Coach comments, maybe you have a medical issue? Luke's response, like a learning disability? I don't think so. Coach's counter comment, sometimes you just need a little medical push in the right direction. Panel 3. It's a close-up on Luke's face with his brow crooked up and he's looking seriously confused. Luke, like drugs, Coach? Panel 4. Coach is smirking. He's leaning back in his seat with his arms crossed across his chest, and the bell in the upper right corner is ringing. The sound effect is ring. Coach, I'm not saying that, but I know you kids have tricks up your sleeve to get by. You should get to class, Luke. Page 4, 6 panels. Panel 1 will be just a white background with the text meanwhile with Dylan. Panel 2, a teacher is at the front of the classroom with a brooding team making his way to his seats. He's hunched over, very closed off, and his knapsack is really gross and not so much gross, but it's torn up and old. The teacher says, "This is Isaac. He's a new student. I hope you guys make him feel welcome." Panel 3, Isaac is sitting down next to Dylan, and Dylan has this silly, huge grin on his face with his hand outstretched trying to shake Isaac's hand. And Isaac doesn't want to have it, and he's just keeping his eyes on the desk, on his own desk. And the shot is like a side view, more like looking at Isaac first, and then you would see Dylan in the background, but how it's angled is that you would see Dylan with the huge grin on his face, so it's not just a straight shot. Dylan goes, hey, I'm Dylan. Hey, what's your name? Hello? Panel 4, Isaac's looking at his notebook, gripping his pen tight in his hand. Can you shut the hell up? Isaac says. Panel 5, Dylan is deflated and slumps in his seat, and Dylan has a thought to himself going, what an asshole. Panel 6, it's Isaac sitting at his desk with little tiny Dylans all around him asking different questions. So this is more a cartoonish look, so it's going to be really a focal point on him with very small cartoonish looking Dylans with words all around Isaac's head, with him clutching a pen tightly in his hand, and it's an emphasis on his hand, or it's showing some emphasis just to show that he's very much angry and intense. Some of the questions would be like, do you get this? Where are you from? How are you liking the new school? And so on and so forth. Page 5, 8 panels. Panel 1, the bell has rung, signaling for the students to move on to their next class. Dylan is raising his finger to ask one last question, while Isaac is gathering his things together. It's another side view, with Isaac more hunched over, exposing Dylan more in the background. Dylan says, did you live here before? I think I knew you when we were little. Panel 2. Isaac is furious at this point, and he's pointing at Dylan. Isaac says, no, stop asking questions. I don't want to fucking talk to you. Just leave me the hell alone. Dylan's response is, why? I'm just trying to be nice to you. You don't even you don't have to be such an asshole. Panel 3. Desks were shoved aside physically by Isaac, but it's really the sight of Isaac lunging towards Dylan. With a few kids possibly in the background to just show that they're not alone in the classroom. Panel 4. It's a big whirlwind of a fighting scene. So really it's just that cartoonish cloud of smoke with various limbs sticking out of it, and it's really showing that there's a tussle happening. Panel 5. Dylan, it's a more of a face down look at Dylan. He is clearly pinned beneath Isaac, and you see Isaac's fist colliding with Dylan's jaw. Panel 6 is a look of, it's looking over Dylan's shoulder, I would say, and you would see Dylan's foot outstretched, showing that he kicked Isaac, and Isaac is a little further back with a bunch of desks cluttering around him. So he got kicked into desks. Panel 7, Isaac lunges for Dylan once more, but really it's a sight of Isaac grabbing a hold of Dylan's hair, trying to bang his head down into the ground. Panel 8 is a school. Actually, for panel 7, I want to actually add that you might see some security guards in the background, because for panel 8, a school security guard lifts the two of them up by them shirts. Dylan has a goofy, more sheepish smile on his face with a huge bruise on his jaw. Isaac's arms are crossed and he's nonchalant, but he's really just looking away from Dylan and still pissed off. And yeah. Alright, so that's what I have gotten so far. I'm thinking a lot about what I want to do exactly, but so this is what I have planned out. I also explained this to our professor, how it's really about 3 boys who come to realize that they're part of an ancient prophecy that means that they're the most powerful witches of them all. It's really dates back to some weird ancient prophecy that I believe, I'm still working at the kinks, but it's that someone foretold that 3 boys will come together, all from different bloodlines that are twined together and stuff. So then each boy is going through their own struggles. These would be the B plots. So Luke would be having a drug issue because he wants to excel in his sports, and in doing so he starts relying on drugs and different things to help him get ahead in school, so he's on the team, and then it spirals. Dylan, he's more studious. I don't know, and he's more comic relief, really, but he's I'm trying to think of what his B plot really is, but I think it comes from a love interest that's a little complicated, and he's actually considered the head witch, or the most powerful, because he has a direct bloodline to his past. And Isaac's is complicated. he comes from an abusive household, and he also struggles with his sexuality because it's something that is forbidden within his house, and so it had imprinted on how he views the world and his sexuality, and he has to go overcome through this. Also, getting through his barriers and obstacles of trying to trust and connect with other people, really the boys as well, because he just can't seem to get it together. And then this would go through this. First they discover their powers, they don't know how to control it, and then they go to this like Wiccan shop, and the shopkeeper knows a lot and he tries to help them, but actually he wants their powers and will do anything he can to get it, but what he does is really manipulate the boys to do what he needs to get done and set up the way for him to like take their powers away. And then there's also the main villain, and this villain I struggle with because I don't know if he would have a good motive depending on if he's a witch, human. I originally went with werewolf because of what I had in my mind originally. But either way, this guy, Xavier, he was betrayed by a bunch of people, and in doing so it left him pretty scarred, and he wants to seek revenge on them. And his real end goal is to enslave everyone, to like keep them from, basically have them do his bidding. While the shopkeeper's goal is really just about having self-power to be what he used to be, and he doesn't care that he's stepping on the boys to do so, while the other is more about like world domination. And it really would come together in this final battle. And with this final battle, the boys will obviously win. But Xavier and the boys go into battle, and it has an like ambiguous ending, so you don't really know what's going on. And what you don't realize is that the shopkeeper had started to take their powers by that point. And it's not noticeable to the audience that the shopkeeper is doing this. And so when the end of the book would happen, you kind of have to read to the next book. That would be about a lot more about dealing with that, and maybe bringing the world domination Xavier guy back. It's but overall, as much as I like it told in a graphic novel because I am more visual. Like, I like action packed. I guess I view my ideas more like if you saw it on the CW for like some teen drama or something, like always something crazy is going on. But I don't know if it really worked for a graphic novel in the end with this idea I have in my head. I think it would be more of a story to write out. But then again, anything can be converted. So I think where I would go from here is really to just write it up, and then once I have the finished product as a story, then I'll start converting it into a graphic novel if I feel that I can do more with that. And yeah, and you know, I really like this class, and I just, it was a hard process. It's not something I usually do. You know, I became more of a perfectionist, which it's great. I like being a perfectionist, but makes me a little nutty. But I really did enjoy this class, and it stinks that I didn't take it for an entire semester in only a few weeks. And yeah, see you guys around.